To be honest with you guys, the reason I didn't really talk about the show was season 3. I got to season 3 of the show, and now I'd never seen season 1 and 2 up to this point, but season 3 was the most recent era, and there were some episodes I saw, and they were terrible. I didn't like them, and I had no context to the rest of the show. Now that I had that context, I can still reaffirm that a lot of these episodes are terrible. Now, I know there was a controversy when the show came out, or this season came out, that there was a lot of women writers. Now, when I speak about the quality of the season and the new writers coming onto the show, I do not care about their flipping gender, okay? It means nothing to how good a writer they are. They just wrote some stuff poorly. Cool. There's bad writing in the show. Doesn't mean they're a terrible writer. Doesn't mean I hate them. Doesn't mean they should not be allowed to work in the industry or whatever, or work on the show. Because some of these writers actually stuck on to season 4. And season 4 is a somewhat like season of the show. So I cannot stress this enough. When I talk about the writing of the show and complain about the writing of the show, it has nothing to do with the fact that these new writers don't have penises. Sorry. I did not like this season. Now, I didn't hate it. I just didn't care for it because when I was watching the show, there were episodes like the first episode of the season, the what's the name of the episode? There's an episode where they there's some good episodes. The point is, I'm forgetting the name of the episode, and it's kind of hard to explain without knowing the name of the episode. But there were some episodes I enjoyed here. There were some episodes I thought were great. However, there were more episodes that were terrible. The most famous episode is the worst episode of the show, Pickle Rick. Why I hate this episode is because you watch this show. This episode is about Rick turning himself into a pickle to skip on family therapy. And he leaves. And he goes on some John Wick style adventure parody as a pickle. Now we're talking about Rick, the smartest man in the universe. Why didn't he just clone himself and make himself do that? Why didn't he just go to open a portal to another dimension and just hang out there and just not be there when they went? Why did a pickle have to be that? It's not particularly funny. It's overly violent and gross, and I'm okay with like violence. It's just like it wasn't funny. It didn't do anything. It was just boring. It's just like, what? And it's gross, and it's just like, I don't want to watch this. And then our character subplot where she's lecturing our characters about how much the stuff we already know about the characters, she just points it out full force in their face, and I'm like, this isn't funny. And it made me realize what's wrong with this season. This season is the writers misunderstanding the point of the characters, and I think a lot of that has to do with the new writers. The show is not trying to deconstruct our characters in the first 3 seasons. It's about parroting wacky sci-fi concepts in an interesting manner. Cool. It does great at that. Makes funny stories. Weird, disturbing, kind of messed up stories, but they're funny. And they're clever. And that's the point. Characters aren't supposed to be likable. They're not supposed to be interesting. They're just supposed to be fun. You're watching these weird adventures, and that's the simple fact of it. That's all there is to say about it. But season 3 didn't do any of that. There was no real parodies. I think the best episodes of the season did do that and did have that type of concepts. And but there were very few of them, and even episodes that did, like the Mad Max episode, it was still to teach us about the characters, give us more development on them. But this isn't what I watched the show for. You've changed what the appeal of the show would be, but you can't do that because you just misunderstand the show. It's like the writers misunderstand the point of why people like this show and try to give them different elements of a different show that didn't come together, and it was just poor writing. It was just bad. I mean, wow, I did not like this season. This was a very boring season. I'm probably never going to go back to it. See, a lot of these episodes weren't infuriatingly bad or anything. They were just boring. They didn't have that fun atmosphere that the show kind of is known for, or what I like about it. And so when I was watching it, I wasn't mad. I didn't hate it. I was just bored. I'm like, I don't want to watch this. And I just turned it off. Went back to it, turned it off, and that's kind of how the show went. It didn't grab me. It didn't appeal to me. I'm glad I'm done watching the season. If I find season 4, one day we will talk about season 4. Hopefully I can find a copy of season 4, or my friend will give me one, and then I can watch it before season 5 comes out, whenever that is.